Hello and welcome back to another episode. This time it's just me and you, and I hope you're very well. I've just had my birthday weekend. It was a real chilled one actually. Just turned 36. I wish. Just turned 46. I still feel like I'm 36, and it's crazy to think that at 36 um, I was probably just transitioning into my latest promotion at work and was feeling all the excitement and the dread and the doom and gloom that came with the reality that I needed to up my game. And then it was only a couple of short years later that my whole life would change and I'd end up doing this. So it is kind of crazy to think back at what I was doing 10 years ago. Um, and as you know, I am quite the reflective person. But anyway, slightly off topic. We went away for our first trip in the van. It was bloody freezing, but Buddy acts as a very nice hot water bottle. And in my all seasons sleeping bag, it soon gets too hot underneath and it's too cold to have your arms out. But it was all good. So we went 15 minutes up the road because, quite frankly, all I wanted was to go out for some nice food, to go for a nice walk, to be by the sea, to hopefully have a sunrise in the morning. And we were like, we don't need to go that far away. So we went to Folkestone, round the corner from us, 15 minutes away. And we stayed at a little campsite that's sort of halfway up the cliff called Little Switzerland. And I not only got my sunrise, but I also got my moonrise. It was the full blood moon coming up, well, the day after it was full. We saw that coming up and it was proper red as it rose over France. And it was a clear night again. Have you seen the planets that are out? Like we've had a clear view of I think it's Venus, Jupiter, and Mars have all been in plain sight in the skies recently. It's just been like fascinating. Anyway, had a lovely birthday weekend. Thanks for asking. And yeah, 46, Jesus Christ. Um, so what I wanted to come on and just briefly talk about is we have a change of season coming up, and who has felt the shift in energy, right? The sun was out a couple of weeks ago and it was actually really warm. At least it was here in Southeast Kent. We had like 17 degrees, I think it was on the Sunday. And just the sun being out just makes all the difference to me. I don't know about you. Um, I have also noticed, like, for a few weeks now, the snowdrops have been coming through. The daffs are starting to pop up. We've got cherry blossom on our neighbour's cherry tree, which always signifies the start of spring. And yeah, it's just like you're starting to walk through the woods, and the wild garlic's coming up, and oh, it creates this shift in energy in me, and I'm sure it does in you too. There's warmth in the sun when it is out, right? Even if it has been freezing the last few days. So we are moving into spring. Happy spring equinox on the day that this is released. And that does bring with it new beginnings, right? We talk about having a spring clean, like we want to spring clean the house because we want to like out with the old and make space for the new. And this is the kind of the focus of this weekend's time out retreat, which is the final time of holding the retreat at the Margate Beach House, which I'm very sad about because this will be my third retreat at the beautiful home of my sisters. And I'm super grateful that they've opened the doors to me to have my clients come. Some have returned. I had Charlotte came for two, Lauren's coming for her second, Tracy came a second time around and brought two of her friends, including her sister. And yeah, I've just been able to use that beautiful space in a really beautiful way to facilitate people really taking that time out of their busy schedules to just allow them time to think clearly, to get out of their heads, but to be able to think clearly by the time they leave and to be able to reconnect to their bodies. Because I always joke, you probably heard me talking about it on this podcast, that we kind of walk around cut off from the throat down. And this is because we spend so much of our time in our heads in all the to-do lists and the worrying and the coulda, shoulda, wouldas and the what are they thinking of me and am I doing a good enough job and what else do I need to be doing? We're up here in the doing, and actually, what we do in the timeout space is we just stop that for a moment, we step away from that, and we calm our body so that our nervous system gets a signal to relax, to really truly switch off. And in that time, we can explore like what are we holding on to from the past that we are that it's sort of slowing us down, making us heavier, making us sluggish, and what are we ready to let go of? Because quite frankly, some of this stuff is just, we're carrying it around as a habit, right? If you open your handbag, what is in your handbag that is just clutter and crap that you've just accumulated over the years and you haven't like cleared it out yet? But actually, do you need two packets of tissues? Do you need a broken nail file that no longer files your nails down? Do you need that lipstick you never wear? Or whatever it is that like do you need four pens in the bottom of your bag? So like how often do we stop to go, I'm just going to have a little clear out, and not just of our handbags or our homes but actually of ourselves, right? Of our heads, of our bodies. So this is what we do on the time out retreat, and I'm super excited to be hosting the third and final one at the Margate Beach House this weekend. And I just wanted to give you a flavour for kind of the focus that we are going to be holding, because if you're unable to join us, you get to replicate a piece of this for yourself. And you obviously, we're coming up for the end of a quarter. And if you were here at the new year for the New Year's Revolution, I took you through a process of reflection, of looking at the last year, of releasing some stuff, right? Of letting some stuff go through the process that I call the equals game. And also then being able to look forward and saying, what is it we're creating in this life? Because how quickly does time go when you get older? Like they always said it, right? I don't ever remember like summer holidays. We had 6 weeks ahead of us, and it just felt like it would go on and on and on. And then all of a sudden it would wrap up at the end and we're going back to school. But it did feel like the days were longer, like we really had spaciousness and time to just be and, you know, be with our friends and do exciting things and go on holiday. And a 2 week holiday used to feel so long and make so many friends. And then you come back and write to them all like pen pals. Who had pen pals? Oh my God. So nostalgic thinking about my pen pals. I always had so many. And yet now, like a 6 week period just like flies by so quickly. We are coming towards the end of Q1 of 2025. We are a quarter of the way through the year, my friends. And if it doesn't really feel like you've kind of got into it or that you've been motivated to start the year, yet it feels like it's flying by at like record speed, it's okay, right? This is what I do want to let you in on a secret of. We are starting the astrological new year for one. We're moving into spring, a new season. It's kind of when the like nature's body clock resets, right? Nature has been in a period of hibernation, of winter. It's like squirrels have been hibernating, leaves have fallen off the trees to make way for rest and replenishment of the trees, and now they're starting to come into bloom again. We see nature coming alive all around us. And therefore, if you are only starting to feel like you're getting going now, it's okay because now you've got nature on your side. Right now, you get to move in the rhythm of nature. New beginnings are ahead, and it's okay if you've kind of had a false start to the year because, you know, the 1st of January, who said you have to wait until the 1st of January to set goals? Like, you can set goals any freaking time of the year. You can start setting goals today. You can look back and go, okay, yeah, didn't really kind of do what I set out to do in January, but is that still important to me today? And where can I just start? Where can I just start today? Where can I just take that first step today or this week or before the end of the month, right? Just set yourself a little goal, but coming back to like, is it actually important to you where you're at now? And if you were with me in the revolution, you would have heard how we move through the equals game. So one thing you can do, which is actually quite good to do at this kind of like end of quarter, end of month even, um, sort of position, is Q1 equals. Take a clean sheet in your journal, and on the left hand side, you're going to write Q1 equals. And what we do on this side is all the like negative connotations that we have with the first quarter of the year, or whatever the point of that belief work is. So here we're doing the first quarter, right? So Q1 equals long winter, Q1 equals cold and wet. It was quite harsh this winter, I feel, compared to others. Quite very cold, very wet up until more recently. It's dried up a lot, which is so much better for my dog walks cross country because I'm not like slopping through mud. But it's been quite harsh, isn't it? Q1 equals harsh winter. Q1 equals a long winter, but Q1 equals so quick at the same time. So you're writing down this list. And I recommend you go all the way into the bottom of the list, bottom of the page. Like keep going, bringing up all these like negative associations with Q1. And what I say is this is like clearing the junk in your trunk. You want to, like, it's better out than in. We don't have to hold on to some of this stuff. And sometimes when you can see it on the page, you kind of go, oh God, I didn't realize it was actually that bad. But also, it doesn't mean it was that bad. It's just like this stuff is just clunky stuff that's inside of you and it's better out than in. And we get it out on the page. So we continue. Q1 equals didn't lose the weight I planned to. Q1 equals actually eaten way more than I wanted to. Q1 equals watched way more telly than I wanted to. Q1 equals went into a bit of a Vikings hole. You've heard me talk about that up until now as well. Q1 equals uh, not ran as much as I wanted to. Like there's all these things that I haven't done yet this year. And actually, it doesn't mean I failed because actually we get to draw a line under that now. And that's what I encourage you to do when you've got to the bottom of the page is kind of reset. Okay, I recognize that all of this has come up and I let go of that. I release it and I open myself up to all that was positive about Q1. And we do this on the other side, on the opposite side of the page. We do Q1 equals. Well, it was fast. So that was also a good thing, as much as it was like crazy that it went so quick. And it ended up on the left-hand side. It's also, thank God it went quick, right? Because here we are in spring. Q1 equals um, a time of reflection. Q1 equals, I did get to shuffle. I started my shuffle class. Q1 equals kettlebell, 6 week, 7 week kettlebell class. Q1 equals um, two retreats. Q1 equals ending on the best retreat because this is good news. First retreat, I had one person staying. Second retreat, I had two people staying. And this third retreat, I've actually got three people staying. So that for me is progress. That's really good. Even though I've got less people overall in this one. So Q1 equals two retreats. Q1 equals like I did so much in January. I went to London on a 3 day event. Q1 equals I went to Tenerife with my parents. Oh, well, I went on my own, but I stayed with them for a few nights. Q1 equals oh, yeah, my retreats. That's the other thing I did in February. Q1 equals I do feel fitter, like I'm going for longer on my walks. I'm more like excited about getting out on my walks than I have been in the past. Especially when I was doing all the other jobs that I was doing because it was just a chore. It was another thing to do. But now I look forward to it. It breaks up my energy and like shifts things. Q1 equals, yeah, I've been very consistent on the podcast. I've had a weekly episode. Q1 equals, I've been clearing my channel in a way. Like I've had some things to get off my chest. I really wanted to have some people on and to have some discussions on the podcast that are perhaps a little bit off topic. So I had the Gaza round table that I split into two episodes in January. I had Carrie Russell on to talk about all things self-expression and actually using your voice. I had Evie Montilla on last week, and Q1 equals, we went viral, guys. So Evie came on last week to talk about like the healing process and all the work, amazing work she does. And our reel about that episode went a bit nuts, and I think it's up to over 16,000 views now, which is awesome, which is just super fun. Like it's really good fun to see that happen. I think that's been my most viral reel on Instagram. So you go down Q1 equals all the positives, like Q1 equals um, increasing moments of peace. Q1 equals just really appreciating the sun when it's out, right? Q1 equals returning to my breath to like really allow myself um that deepening of my breath and reconnection to my own self. So I encourage you to do that. And actually, when you've got down the positives, just really notice like what was easier to do. Was it easier to do the negative associations, or was it easier to be in the positives? Because it's going to give you a clue as to kind of your overall vibe. And then on the positive side, if there was something in particular that stood out that like really hit home, like for me, when I said it was just so much fun that we went a bit viral last week with Evie, like that for me was like that's when like my energy shifted in the week running up to that. And it was part of that energy shift was me saying to Evie, come on my show, like I've really wanted to ask you for so long and I haven't. And it was in response to her putting out a post about, you know, being ready to say yes to things. So it was just really cool how it all kind of came together. It came together quickly and then it went off. And that's kind of like that fun vibe that I want to hold on to into business going into Q1. So what kind of like stands out to you is that kind of like, oh, that was really loaded when I said that. Circle that and like how can you hold on to that moving into Q2? So that's kind of like the vibe of today. And I will leave it there. But I wish you a happy spring equinox and yeah, hope you're just really noticing the shift in energy and making the most of these warmer, lighter days that are going to come our way before long. The clocks are going to go forward in another week. And just just basically intentionally moving into Q2 based on reflection on Q1. So I will be back next week with a bit of an update on how this last retreat goes. It's not the end of time out retreats. They are going to come back with a bang in September. And actually, what I'm going to do in summer is open up a limited number of spots for a VIP time out retreat with me. So these are VIP days where you get to come to me. We go out and exploring the coastline and being out in nature, going for a sea dip in the Kent coastline. And you get to stay with me in my Airbnb, which is called the Pizza Hut. For the evening, we go out for dinner. You get the whole day with me. It's just me and you, one to one. And we're going to go deep on anything that's coming up for you that is potentially holding you back from being like your full, authentic self in your work and your life. So if that feels like that's your vibe, then get in touch. You can email me, emma@emmajclayton.com. You can contact me on any of the social media channels. And as always, be sure to stay connected here. Hit the follow or subscribe button, and I will see you next week. In the meantime, take care, guys, and yeah, I'll be back.